What's up, YouTube? This is Badass Review here, and I'm back with another Superman toy review. This time, I'm looking at the the DC Superheroes Doomsday. This is the figure line that came out before DC Universe Classics, and it was a pretty good line. I mean, it really set up everything for the DC Universe Classics. They had some pretty good figures like this, the Batman, the Batgirl figures. They had a whole bunch of good figures that I really enjoyed from that line. I don't have necessarily all of them, but I got quite a bit of them, and I got all the ones that I really wanted to get. So this is one of them, and I'm doing this review for the Man of Steel movie that's coming out in this week. And who else better to do than the person that pretty much killed Superman? Doomsday is like the equivalence to Bane in the Batman universe. He is just insanely powerful, and he's pretty ridiculous. My only gripe with this figure really is the size of him. If I put him in next to like Superman, he's kind of in a crouching pose. I'll get him in a more straight. He's not very tall. I mean, if you ever watched like Doomsday or read the comic books, you'll know that he is a lot larger, and that didn't help this camera. I'm sorry, everyone. Alright, so as you can see, he's not very tall or as big as he should be. I wish they, like DC Universe Classics, would have had a Build-A-Figure for this guy like they did with Darkseid. That would have been 10 times cooler, because he would have been super awesome looking, and he would just been gigantic. But yes, that is my real complaint with him. Another complaint I kind of have is like the sculpting on his arms and this whole thing back here. It kind of like limits the articulation in some spots. I mean, if you get his arms out in a certain way, they kind of like get rubbed up against this part here, and then they kind of get stuck inside the joint, so it's kind of hard for it to move in the position that you want it to. But other than that, I don't really have any other complaints, other than like over time, when you have this figure, his legs become really loose. But that's alright, because he's usually on display anyways, so he's kind of just standing there. But other than that, I think the detail is pretty great on this guy. I mean, he's got all these crazy spikes going everywhere. It looks like he's like half made of crystal. I don't necessarily know if this is like bone or if it is crystal of some sort, but his body is pretty much covered in it, and it's pretty nice. It's all basically like a soft plastic, so I mean, it's not very sharp and it wouldn't kill somebody, but it still has some pretty pointy edges, so I'd watch out. But it is pretty nice. He's got some pretty nice paint on him. He's got some gray with some dry brush, or some shading and stuff like that going on in the detail of his arms, which I think is really nice. They got like this blue, it's kind of hard to see, kind of a blue tint going throughout the white of his body, which is really nice as well. You can see the little detail of like him. It looked like he was wearing a shirt at one point, but then he kind of ripped it off, or got ripped off, so that looks nice as well. Just overall a great figure, and I would highly recommend you pick this guy up. I mean, even in the face, I mean, his eyes have those bones over it, and he looks really kind of scary. His head's like made of like a really soft rubber, so his mouth can kind of open up, so he can be like, but yeah, I don't think Doomsday actually talks. I think he just makes a bunch of loud noises and beats things up. But let's go over articulation, because there's not much else to say about the detailing other than what I pointed out. I mean, he has more detailing throughout the rest of his body, but still pretty nice. For articulation, his head can go up a little bit, down, rotate 360 degrees. Well, it could, but his beard / the stuff on his back kind of gets in the way, so articulation's a bit impeded. His little hair back here, by the way, is just like a little soft plastic too. It's kind of like rubbery, so that moves around, in case anybody cared or was wondering. His arms, they can go in a 360, but the rocks or diamonds, whatever it is on his shoulders, get in the way, and then this part gets in the way. but it can go in and out. But like I said before, the things on his shoulders get in the way, so he can't really get his arms out that far, which kind of sucks. I mean, you can't really get him in a, like, this arm really just has no real like limitations because it just gets hindered by all the stuff on him. But that's okay. Let's go over this arm because it's a little bit easier. His bicep swivels. He's got a single joint in the elbow. He rotates at the wrist. He's got these crazy like brass knuckles going on, made of bone or whatever. If anybody knows what it's made out of, you can go ahead and tell me, because I have no idea. I don't know if it's like bone or if it's some kind of like rock. I've never really bothered to look it up or anything. But on his gigantic torso, he's got a little ab crunch, which actually does quite a bit. He can crouch down pretty good. He can go back pretty far, so that's really nice. Rotates at the waist. He has forward and back movement, in and out. He rotates at the thigh, right above the knee. He bends at the knee, and then he also rotates at the boot, which is really nice because you don't see that much articulation on figures nowadays, and well, by DC anyways. But yeah, it's really nice to kind of get that articulation, even though we don't necessarily need it. But I guess it kind of gets him in like crazy cool poses, I guess. That's what you want to say. Anyways, and then his foot can bend, and it has a slight pivot in it, except the pivot more like is already a permanent pivot because it always kind of just stays like this. But I think if you can mess around with it a little bit, it gets kind of stuck right here, so it's always kind of stuck in this weird motion. But it's to help him stand, really. But other than that, he doesn't really have a problem with standing. I mean, he's pretty good about it, as long as his legs aren't too loose. But yeah, so I would recommend you try and pick up this figure. I know it's it's kind of an older one, and he can go for quite a bit of money. So I don't remember how much I paid for this guy. It was pretty cheap. I think I got him for a little less than 18, but I had been searching for a while trying to get one for cheap, and I finally got one. So yeah, you kind of just gotta look. I mean, they have a variant to this, which is like a lava version, which, yeah, it's not bad, but it's definitely not the same as this guy here. But, you know, it's whatever you can get, and if you care at all. But yeah, so anyways, that's my review. Stay tuned for some more Superman reviews coming up, and I should be doing a review of the Man of Steel, hopefully the same night that I see it, because I'm sure I'm going to be pretty excited about it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.